it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about the permanent loss.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
That is the ultimate goal, Mr. Tracker. You're absolutely right.
Indeed, it is.
Hell yeah. I like that we can unmute our microphones during the intro, but we like almost never do. But it's motherfucking Whiskey Wednesday, bro. So grab your beers and shake some rears. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to this fantastic Whiskey Wednesday, year of our Lord 2025. It is currently the 7th of May, 4 days after May 4th. So may the 4th be with you. Richard Hart came out with a cool video this morning. There's some other cool stuff that's going on. We had a fantastic stream in the Telegram earlier today, courtesy of your very own Agent Jay right over there, our great value technical analyst. Oh, I suppose we should introduce ourselves. Hello, everybody. The folks at home who don't know who we are, my name is Will Stevenson. I'm an iron worker. I travel around the States building TV and radio towers in my free time. I like to talk to folks such as yourselves about cryptocurrency and self-improvement and things of that nature. And also joining me today, we have Mr. Agent Jay of the DGen Roundtable. He is a great value technical analyst. He's the gentleman that runs us through the charts, teaches us about the Fibonacci's and the RSI's and the Stotches and the Bollinger Bands and all of those things that I think that I don't know what I'm talking about. But welcome, broski. How are you doing today? What's new and exciting with you, man?
Oh, you know me. I always tell folks, I'm on a sliding scale of pretty good. All right. Some days I'm less pretty good. Some days I'm more pretty good, but pretty good is my sliding scale, man. I never have bad days really. At least it's a mindset thing. Like objectively, it might be a bad day, but I tend to try and funnel any of that energy into something productive. So, which is why I keep my sliding scale on pretty good. Other than that, doing the same exact thing, man. Working on the business, working on the charts. Like you mentioned, we were streaming a little bit earlier, reading the tea leaves. That was pretty damn good. Gave the community a few entries for a long position, and they should be pretty happy with the results because we are getting very, very close to the first area of take profit that I mentioned. So just please keep those in mind. Have your stop losses in place. Other than that, man, it's been a fantastic week so far. Made quite a handful of sales to start off the week. Made a few more sales today, so it's been quite excellent. Aside from that, yeah, man, it was FOMC day. A whole lot of nothing was said. We had a few really good points, a handful of good questions. The one question that I was hoping somebody from Legacy Media would ask Jerome Powell, completely absent. But you know, we'll go over to FOMC when we do the review, either tomorrow morning during the live stream or when we do the review over on Sunday with Zenith. But other than that, man, it's been the same shit, different day. So all is well over here in the sunny state of Arizona.
I like it. Yeah. For the folks at home that don't know, just a quick little the TLDR of the FOMC meeting is if I understood your notes correctly, or your point correctly that you were making, is like the Fed was buying a shit ton of bonds, but they're not printing money, and so they're saying one thing with their hawkishness, dovishness stance, and then they're doing a different thing by like doing the actual purchases of the U.S. Treasury bonds, right? Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, sir. Slight distinction. When people say the term money printer, it's not exactly accurate. At least when
For
it comes to the Fed, right? The Treasury is the only ones that can print the money, right? The Treasury prints the money. The Federal Reserve handles monetary policy, right? That's your interest rates, that's their balance sheet, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that they control. When they say turning on the money printer in terms of the Federal Reserve, that's what you were speaking about, right? The lever that they can pull, and when it comes to money printing, is to inject liquidity, dollars, into the market by buying up those U.S. Treasuries, right? In this case, they bought some 3-year notes, they bought some 10-year notes. I'm not exactly sure what else was included, but that was the chunk of it, right? About $34 billion worth of U.S. securities were bought within the last 48 hours by the New York Fed. And then Jerome Powell comes on today and says, yeah, we're still reducing the size of our balance sheet. And so I'm like, what's going on? The New York Fed just bought $34 billion and added $34 billion worth of U.S. securities to the balance sheet, and you're telling me we're reducing. The math doesn't math up. I'm waiting for somebody to like, yo, Jay, here's the details on it. You're misunderstanding it slightly, but I'm like, the New York Fed is acting as a proxy because the portfolio that they're dumping, what they just bought, is the open market account, which belongs to the Federal Reserve. So they're basically just acting as a proxy for the portfolio of the Federal Reserve. So I'm like, what am I missing here? What am I missing here, bro? Like you're telling us that you're reducing the size, and then the NY Fed just bought $34 billion worth of securities. That's not reducing the size of your balance sheet, man. You just added $34 billion worth of securities, and nobody bothered to ask that. I'm like, I must be missing something here, bro. Like I must be, and I probably am missing something, but I'm like, the math doesn't math up.
Yeah. It's watch. What is it that we say all the time in like the DGen Roundtable, and just like people say in the red pill sphere in general, the unplugged matrix zone is like, don't listen to their words, observe their actions, or something like that. It's like, we don't listen to the words. Oh, Michael Sartain, shout out to Michael Sartain and the Men of Action. But it's like, we don't listen to the words, we observe the actions. So if you got Jerome Powell up there saying like, hey guys, we're reducing our number, and then meanwhile the Federal Reserve's like, oh yeah, we added 34 billion, no big deal. No big deal. That's just chump change, something like that. It's
like so don't get me wrong, each of these different main
there's 13 feds, right? Or is there 7?
Yeah. Obviously they act independently within their jurisdictions, which is why I'm like, I must be missing something here, man. I must be missing something, because they're well within their powers to act as independent entities. But when I looked up exactly where this was being added, it was being added to the open market account, which belongs to the big Fed, to the Federal Reserve. So I'm like, what am I missing here? I must be missing something.
Why did the Fed stay, what is it, hawkish while buying 34 billion worth of treasury notes?
Bro, before we get into that, why don't you say hi to the chat first, bro?
Oh shit, it is time to say hi to the chat. Fucking A right. Well, you know, while Chat GPT is coming up with the answer to that question, because that's how I answer all of my life's problems, you're fucking A right. We have been skipping the motherfucking best part of the show. It's time for chat fucking shoutouts. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a pat on the back. It's time for us to give you a pat on the back as well and do some chat shoutouts. I am doing producing today, so I'm just going to kind of rock and roll on through it. So first off, in the chat shoutouts, we are joined by, Mr. Orezo Evidigen says, fire. I like it, broski. Fire right back to you. It's good to see you, bro. I have not seen you in our chats before, but that face does look familiar. That's not, is that Lil Wayne? I don't know, but excellent choice in icons. Next up for the chat shoutouts, we've got Mr. Hexagon Lost in Asia. First pump, let's go. Or fist pump, let's go. Yes, absolutely right. Shout out to all of my Hexagons and all of our Pulsicans in the chat. For those of you guys that don't know, and this is probably something we'll talk about in a little bit, but Richard Hart put out a video, like an actual video of him talking, and it could be AI, it could be computer, who the fuck knows? But there's a video that posted from Richard Hart's YouTube and also on Richard Hart's Twitter, and there was a correlating pump in the Hex and Pulse chain ecosystem.
That was a nice video, man.
Yep, it was good. I enjoyed it. I was listening to it this morning while I was cooking myself some delicious beef burgers. So shout out to you, Mr. Hexing Lost in Asia. You're absolutely right. Let's fucking go. Next up, we've got me posting the link to the StreamYard. By the way, guys, it is Whiskey Wednesday, and we're just chilling here, drinking. I'm drinking some Coors Lights, one of Zenith's favorite drinks. Mr. Agent J is probably over there drinking water or something healthy like that.
That
What you got?
aspartame.
Oh, aspartame drink. All right, excellent. Agent Jay's over there drinking the delicious sugar alternatives that don't have calories, so he can stay nice and healthy. We like it. But if you guys want to hop on Whiskey Wednesday, if you want to chat with us, you don't have to have your camera on. You don't have to do anything crazy. We just ask that you remain respectful and whatnot. But if you want to, then click out that link right there. If anyone wants to hop on Whiskey Wednesday, here is the link. And then there's the StreamYard link attached. So y'all can click on that. We also post that up in the DGen Roundtable Telegram. So if y'all are in the Telegram, you can click that link as well. I will see you pop up in here, and I will introduce you and make some camera adjustments as necessary. You'll have to be patient. I'm not as quick and fast with the cameras as Mrs. Magetta. Shout out to our normal producer, but we'll get you in here when we can. Next up for the chat shoutouts, we are joined by Miss Amber Simon. Amber Simon says hello. Hello to you too, Miss Amber Simon. It's good
Amber,
to see you.
I hope
Rocking and
your
rolling.
fitness journey is going well. Drop us an update, man. How you doing?
Yes, absolutely. Put an update in the DGen Roundtable Fitness channel. For those of you guys that don't know, in the DRT, we talk about fitness, we talk about cryptocurrency, we talk about self-improvement, we talk about dealing with women, we post memes, we do all sorts of things. And Miss Amber has a fantastic story of how she went from living a life that she did not like and fitness goals that she wasn't fond of. And she has made some fantastic transformations over the past, I want to say it's like 8 or 9 months or something like that. Probably longer. I don't recall exactly all the details, but shout out to Miss Amber Simon. She's doing absolutely fantastic. A great DGen Roundtable community member. So there we go. Next up in the chat shoutouts, we've got another fantastic lady in the crypto space. We've got Tam saying, "What's up, fam? What's up to you, Tam? It is good to see you." Shout out to the #1 Pulse Chain and Hexakin cheerleader in the space. We're always glad, and it's good to see you here in the DGen Roundtable with us. Next up, we've got Mr. Bill C3 Works. Hey, all, for those of you guys that don't know, you guys should check out the Actuator Protocol. Mr. Bill was on the on RH Max's show the other day, the Pulse Chain, what was it, 2055 conference that he was throwing, and he did a fantastic briefing on what the Actuator Protocol is and how you can use it for staking Hex and maximizing your gains and all of that stuff. So shout out to you, Bill. If you want to join Amigo, if you want to hop on here and talk about the Actuator or talk about, what's going on lately, then feel free to click on this link right here. It's in the live chats. Also, it's posted in our DGen Roundtable Telegram. I'll post it again here in a second for you guys, but it's good to see you, Mr. C3 Works, Mr. Bill. What's up? Next up, he says, it's a giant shell game that needs careful understanding. I think he's referring to the Federal Reserve there. So that makes sense. It is a giant shell game. Lots of careful understanding. And I just approach it with the peanut brain mentality, where I think about how it's all just a big bunch of players that are making the rules up as they go, and we get to feel the fallout later. So there you go. Next up, though, in the chat shoutouts, we've got Mr. Jonathan. Mr. Jonathan says, hi, what's up, Jonathan? Good to see you, broski. Glad that I had a good little conversation with
my
Jonathan.
Asian brother.
Yep, the Asian brother, for sure. He's got his own little personal profile there. For those of you guys that don't know, Jonathan's got a really cool friend that does like cartoon characterization. So this is what he thought Jonathan looked like, and he turned it into a cartoon and gave it to him. So shout out to you, Jonathan. You've been added to the DGen Roundtable emoji pack. For those of you guys also that don't know, you guys can be added to the DGen Roundtable emoji pack if you just message me on Telegram, and I'll throw your little profile picture up in our super cool family, and it'll be awesome. Oh, we got another chat from Mr. Bill. Arthur Hayes has some great analysis of all this, and this is again referring to the Federal Reserve. So this is good. I'll have to check that out earlier.
Yeah,
check that out later.
Bill, I don't know if you caught. Hayes had an interview recently with Kyle Chassis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Yeah. He was at, I think, Token 2049, I believe it was.
Yes.
That was a great interview. They spoke about the shenanigans with the tariffs and the Federal Reserve there too. So I don't know if you're referring to that particular interview, Bill, but I caught that one earlier. That was pretty good. Yeah. Arthur Hayes is definitely he knows a thing or two.
Yes, absolutely. He's a fucking billionaire. He knows at least a billion things. So
Dude,
that's
no,
fantastic.
if I could give one piece of unsolicited advice to Arthur Hayes, like, you're a billionaire, bro, like, just shave it off, man. He's trying to hold on for dear life.
Hey,
I'm like,
Jay,
Arthur,
take off the hat. We'll have Arthur. You got to join me and
yeah,
Jay.
you gotta like
just got to get over it.
yeah.
That's
Like,
that's
stop
how it goes.
holding on. It's okay, right?
All good things come to an end.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't remember what stream it was, but like every single one of us on the DGen Roundtable were either bearded or bald in one of our little things. So that was a good one, Mr. Jonathan. I see you have appeared in our little background. I will add you as soon as I'm done with the chat shoutouts, broski. It's good to see you though. All right, so on that note, I got to run through these chat shoutouts. So next up, we got C3. Will is the goat. Thanks, bro. Apparently I am the goat. The greatest of all time, or something like that. We've also got my good friend Josh, Mr. Slide 180. He is also a fan of the Silver Bullets, the Coors Lights. I swung by his place of work earlier, and man, we had such a great time hanging out, having fun. He was showing me all the different things that you could do with cars. It was so fucking cool. So shout out to Mr. Slide 180 and his oh man, I can't remember the name of your car, bro. It's like a 180 or a Mazda or a Miata or something, but it's one of those cars with like the right-hand drive from Japan. So shout out to you, broski, and cheers to you too. And then finally, we've got Miss Tam Tam saying that she loves us. Absolutely. We love you too, Tam Tam. It's good to see you. So welcome to the stream. And now, without further, oh man, I need to figure out, I don't know how Mrs. Producer does it when she adds, oh, that's what happens. Hey,
Oh man.
yo,
There he
welcome,
is.
welcome, Mr. Jonathan. What's up, broski?
Hello, how are you doing?
We're doing fantastic, dude. Welcome to this. Have you been on a live stream with us before? I can't recall.
No, I'm just like, I sit in the chats and then, I do something else. I listen to you guys in the background.
Well, welcome, bro. It's good to have you. What's new and exciting with you? What are you up to?
Well, right now I'm just chilling. It's 5 o'clock over here. I'm in California.
Hell yeah,
just,
bro.
I decided to say, hello, first time on the stream, first time with the stream. I'm tired of being, the ninja watcher. I want to say hello. I also want to say thank you to you guys. Like, I want to say like the Telegram. I've been there for maybe a year and a half now. I found a lot of value into it. It appears, in my opinion, it appears that, the information that I received there is like about a week ahead of what, I should be expecting. So when that week rolls around, I can tell people, I told you so, or, I take the credit, thanks, Jay. Jay's my, brother from another mother, dude. But, it's fun. It's nice. I'm making money. I'm happy. I've never been so happy. So this is great.
Excellent, bro. We love it. We love that you. Thank you for joining us, man. And this is your first time on a live stream or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, hey, here, fucking cheers to you, Agent Jay. Why don't you raise that aspartame filled drink, and we'll cheers to Mr. Jonathan joining us live on the stream. It's good to have you, bro.
We definitely paid Jonathan for that shameless plug.
Oh yeah. Jonathan just received $555,000 from the DGen Roundtable for that shameless plug. We love you, bro.
By the way, bro, how are you liking California? I know that you just recently graduated university, so congratulations. You don't have to share everything, but I mean, how are you liking? I know you were looking at several different areas in particular for your career path. So how's California treating you, man? I'm surprised you moved there out of
So yeah. So I'm actually a California native. I've never left California. I guess the farthest I've been was probably Hawaii. When I was a kid, I went to Utah. What's that national park over there? Zion.
Yeah.
That's the farthest I've ever been. But that was when I was a kid. So I grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco, the Palo Alto, San Jose area. So I've never left actually. I'm trying to make it. I'm second generation Filipino, so you know how it is. You gotta make it. So I'm trying to do my best. I'm actually the first one to finish school. I'm actually the only one in my family to go to school.
Congrats, man!
Hell yeah! Dude, making and breaking records there, broski.
Brought honor to his family, bro, and to his ancestors.
Yeah, but like if you want to get to know me, you know, I guess to sum it up, I actually have two careers. You know, I mentioned this in a prior stream before. I'm actually a very high-end bartender.
No
I
kidding.
actually, yeah. I actually don't drink as well. So like no alcohol whatsoever. I've probably had maybe 2-3 drinks in my life. I'm 25.
Hell yeah, dude.
I prefer to not drink. You know, one, I think it's expensive, right? And also, like I like to be 100% cognizant at all times. You know, when I was, when I was growing up, I was like, I'd rather not be like those people because, 5 minutes ago I was talking to Jeff, and then 5 minutes later Jeff is not Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, so
absolutely.
That's kind of my perspective on it. But however, I have such a skill. I've been mentored and trained very well. Whereas lots of people call me. I do little private events here and there. Lots of people. I don't know if you heard of the place called Atherton. That's like one of the highest net worth areas in the country.
Dude,
I get calls from there. Yeah. So like, these big multimillionaires, whether they be politicians or, big VC directors or, people that just own businesses, they live in this like really not secluded, but like this very particular zone in Palo Alto and or, near Palo Alto.
Yeah, I've heard Palo Alto before.
Yeah, it's where Stanford is.
Okay.
And they have like these big mansions or compounds or multi-story really huge. It's probably not as big as like something you find in Georgia, but like really big for California standards. And anyways, they like to host events. And they call me sometimes, right? They have my contacts by word of mouth. They tell all their friends, or I meet them. And then I show up to like this really big, beautiful house. And sometimes they have a bar. Sometimes I have to make do what I got. But yeah, I steal their liquor, and then I serve them. I make them happy, and then they pay me very well. So it's nice.
That's so cool, man.
Like the amount of stories that you must have come across to be the bartender, and also like to be the person who, even though you're around alcohol, you don't drink. So it's like you remember what most people forget because when they imbibe, they tend to forget. You must have a ton of fucking stories, bro.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons why they like me, is because like I'm not consuming with them. I've seen other bartenders with me that work at these events sometimes. They get hammered, and I'm like, brother, dude, you're not gonna be working here for very long. Yeah, so that's one side of what I do. The other thing is, I did finish school. You're right. I finished school last year, actually. I was working for a little bit, and then I got laid off in January. I was working in biotech.
No.
Yeah, so apparently the company, it's a startup. The startup was funded by the CDC, and then the CDC had to pull money in January, and then because
not the Center of Disease Control, the something different.
CDC.
No,
that's it.
CDC. Yeah.
Oh, it is a CDC. Oh,
yeah.
shit.
I was working in biotech. So
okay.
Right. So one of the major investors was the CDC, and when the money got drained from that during the Department of Doge implementation at the end of January. Because I was entry-level engineer, I was particularly non-essential. Nothing was wrong with my work ethic or my productivity. It was just how the startup goes. So
part and parcel, man.
Right now I'm actually unemployed in terms of engineering, but I'm still doing the bartending, so I'm not not working, right? So it's cool. I'm just chilling right now, looking for my next job.
Hell yeah, dude. That's fucking kick out. What do you like better? What is the problem that's like your favorite to solve? This is what I ask people when I first meet them, is like, what's your purpose?
Well, I got a funny story about that. So
let's hear it.
So because I was studying engineering, right? I have like, you know, a little knack for little processes, right? Making the process a little bit more efficient, or, you know, trying to make it the best that it is for me personally, right? And, you know, I kind of applied that to bartending. At my previous job, I improved a few of the processes there, even though, you know, I am novice.
Bro, you're
But
like an efficiency master.
I think so, but you know, that's the area of study that I did, and you know, it's what I like to do. I don't like wasting my time. I like you know, chasing the dollar. That's my hobby.
Oh man.
Yeah, but so
Asian, bro.
Proper.
Fucking Asian.
but yeah, so like you know, I like to improve processes. That's you know, something that I can inherit. Like, you know, if you gave me something and then I were to play with it, you know, I would work with the process, and then I would talk to the people around me to see how they feel about you know, such a process is going. And then I would give them my take on it, whether it be successful or not. You know, I would have little inputs, and then, you know, whatever efficiency that can be applied, you know, I would take that into writing, and then I would submit that. So that's what I have fun with.
Yeah.
Dude,
Well, I
that's
mean, part and parcel of being an engineer, right? Engineers are problem solvers, so I'm not surprised that like that's your personality. They care about efficiency. They care about mitigating waste, because the more efficient and the less waste you produce, the less likely you have any liabilities. And especially if you work in like chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, where a ton of problems can pop up in your face, and it's like lives at stake. So yeah, engineers are efficiency, problem solving, processes. So I'm not surprised, bro. But kudos to you being able to apply that to like bartending as well. That's super cool.
Well, what's funny is I use the physics, the mechanical physics, whether it be fluid, heat and light, thermal, or kinetics. I use that actually in my bartending technique. So if you actually observe me bartending, you'd be like, yo, what are you doing? And I'm like, yo, check this out. My drink tastes better than all the other bartenders you ever had, hands down. You know, I have that confidence, and then I blow people. It's funny because, like, you know, I do work in a traditional bar. I do work at a steakhouse as well. You know, on the side, I call it my funny money. Yeah. Like these people, they've never experienced such a drink, and like, you know, there's I'll give you an example, right? So there's 1,000 ways to make I don't know, a lemon drop or a margarita, for example, right? And then I make them in a particular way. Like I like to put on a show. Like I like to bring all the liquor in front of the guest, and then, of
course,
you know, I like to, you know, tell them, explain them all the little mechanics I do. And I'll give you another one. So like, you know, there's, you know, variations of shake. There's a type of shake. You know, there's actually for stirring, for example, if you want to make an old fashioned, right? There's only a few components. It's whiskey, some bitters, some ice, and then a little bit of, you know, variation of sugar you want to use, whether it be demerara, you know, granular sugar or simple syrup, right?
Sure.
Or even if you want to use an orange, right?
And so you're like educating your patrons as you're serving them, right?
Hey, listen. If I educate them, sometimes they pay my tuition. You know what I mean?
For real. For real, dude. Like, you've unlocked the secret. Like, hold on before you go any further. You've unlocked the secret of like valuetainment. You're providing them alcohol. You're teaching them. You're giving them value on both sides of the spectrum, whether they want to have a good time or whether they're there to learn. Dude, like you've figured it out, man. Please continue though.
And so yeah, like you know, I tell them like little mechanics, what goes into the drink, whether it be like my rate of dilution, right? So if you see me working at the bar, sometimes I would pick up the ice, and then you're like, yo, what are you doing, Jonathan? And I'm like, yo, I'm observing the ice. I'm like, what? Cold is cold, right? And I'm like, no. There's levels of cold. There's really cold, and then there's frozen, right? And so every time I pick up the ice, I'm just like, hey, you know, look. So if it's ice white, that means there's impurity. But if it's ice white, right, the key word is white, that means it's really cold, right? And then, you know, if I pick up the ice and I say it's clear, then I have to say, hey, look, the ice is still frozen. Yes, it's cold, but it's not as cold as I would, you know, want it. And so that would change the amount of stirs I have into making an old fashioned, for example, right? I'd say, look, I am measuring the dilution. I've worked here long enough to observe this particular ice and say, hey, look, I'm going to stir this 15 times, 30 times, depending on the level of coldness, right? And the level of what I can feel. And, you know, because if you didn't know, when you have a whiskey, right? And, you know, I studied this for, you know, religiously for a while.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure this out. I was like, yo, why is it some drinks like better than, you know, anyways. So the amount of water you add to a whiskey, if you did not know, actually opens up the notes, right? So some whiskeys, right? So a whiskey that has been aged well and, you know, in a nice American oak and it's been charred inside, they would have notes such as a little bit of cinnamon. You taste the vanilla. That I've never experienced, right? But I can smell it. And I would tell them, hey, if you dilute this ever so slightly or at such a correct level, all of those notes in this particular whiskey will be enhanced. And, you know, you would have a much enjoyable time having this with your meal, either with your meal or, you know, if you're a little appetizer or if you're just drinking it straight. And so this is the kind of experience that, you know, I like to, you know, tell the guests or, you know, the people I interact with. And, you know, when they experience this experience, you know, they relay back, you know, what they actually think. And they say, this is probably the best drink I've ever had. And then, you know, they slap $100 on me. And then guess what I'm buying? I'm buying freaking Pulse Chain. You know what I mean?
Man.
Wow. I gotta put a spell on you, man. You're a hypnotist. You don't know it, but you're a hypnotist. Like you need to seriously pursue learning about hypnosis and learning about walking people down the process of a story because you're a fucking natural. You've got this talent with you. And like, man, if you pursue this and you get like really good at it, dude, like the world is at your fingertips, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like just you explaining the process of this drink to me, I'm enamored already, and I know exactly what you're doing this whole time. So like this is great, bro. Jay, what are your thoughts, man?
Oh, par for the course, right? All jokes aside, when I say he's being very Asian, it's like leave it to the Asian to take something like a creative outlet like bartending, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna math and physics this shit. But I mean, I know that's hilarious, right? But Jonathan is correct. It's very reflective of what we do here at the DGen Roundtable when we're going over the charts, right? The charts is technically a math-based thing, but the charts are a reflection of people's emotions because people make up the market and people buy based on emotion, based on the headlines, based on the red or green candles, right? It's just a mathematical representation of people's emotion. Mm-hmm. Folks don't like it when you math emotion like that or when you math creativity. Unfortunately, those two things are very much intertwined. And Jonathan is a very good case study of that, exactly those two different worlds coming together. It's like he's definitely a rare personality.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you think, yo, he's an engineer, so very mathematics inclined. But then he's hyper competent at this very creative outlet, right? So it's like you don't usually get those two kinds of disparate personalities into one person. So he's actually a very rare case study, right? And he's able to take advantage of both of those sides equally. So I mean, kudos to you, bro. Like Will said, if you pursue this, like your ability to tell stories, because you're definitely very good at being able to like paint a picture. Like you're painting a picture through numbers as well. You pursue that, bro. I think Will's right. Like, sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit.
I've got two Reese's I've got two resources for you, Jonathan, and I'll send them to you in DMs after the show is done. But actually, you know what? I'll say it out loud right now. You need to look up Iggy Semmelweis as far as hypnosis goes, and then look up the process of telling a story. Like once you internalize those two concepts, and also a little bit of copywriting, like learning the basics of copywriting to get like the sales stuff down. But dude, like you're already a natural at this stuff, man. Like dude, I am excited to know you, man. The world's your oyster. You just don't know it yet. You're 25 years old, like walking around the world, owning everything. Like, man, there's so much potential in here. So
And
like,
you've already got the performative aspect down as a bartender, like you said, right? You like to get you like to get all of the drinks involved. There's a very high performative aspect to what you do. I mean, bartenders in general, right? But obviously, you're taking it to the next level by incorporating the physics and the math into the presentation. So you've got the performative aspects down already. And if you refine that, bro, like shit, man, dude, for sure.
it's gonna the world your oyster, bro. The world is your
Well, thank you
oyster.
for the compliments. Thank you.
It's not compliments, man. It's just we're telling you what is real. We're not here to like fluff your ego. We're telling you what's going on and what's the actual scenario, right? Like I'm just a pair of eyeballs that observes the world and then I describe the world that's in front of me. I'm not here to make anyone feel good or make anyone feel bad. Like you have got some serious potential up in front of you, and dude, like that this is exciting to me to be here at the starting point. So
and the fact that he doesn't imbibe, it's like, look, nothing wrong against drinking alcohol, but I like me and Jonathan are very similar in the sense of like, yo, I don't like to compromise my mental faculties because in case shit hits the fan, I want to be able to pivot on a dime. I want to have my mental faculties all in place. I want to be agile. I want to be speedy. And if I drink alcohol, that dampens those kinds of mental capacities, right? So it's like, if you like to drink, that's totally cool. But I'm with Jonathan, man. I do not like to compromise my ability to act quickly. That's just my own personal thing.
Yep. We've got a lot of haters in the comments, but I'm ignoring them. The thing that I want to focus on is right. Look at that. I clicked the wrong one because another chat came up right at the right moment. But like See-Through Bill wants to go to your bar, dude. So are you allowed to talk publicly about like which bars that you work at, or again, like
so I work. Yeah, I work. So in the Bay Area, there's this little restaurant called Willard Hicks. Willard Hicks in Campbell. Okay. So there's a couple locations. There's only 2, I think. But I work in Campbell. Okay, that's the one I particularly frequent. I'm there on the weekends. Best to find me on Sundays if you want the full show. On Saturday it gets crazy, so I'm gonna be like, moving and grooving.
Hell yeah, man, vibing it out.
Yo,
perfect.
Yo, Brown is like, I don't trust a bartender that doesn't drink. Brown, you never heard of you don't get high in your own supply, bro?
You don't get high in your own supply. There's a difference between like a guy that coaches football and a guy that plays football. And like there's a skill that goes with mixing a drink. There's no skill that goes in drinking a drink.
So actually I can dumb this down for you.
Sure, let's hear it.
So like it's very easy for me to make an excellent drink without me drinking. And do you know how I do that?
Absolutely. Storytelling.
Well, I want you to like guess how would I be able to do that?
I want you to walk me through the process because I'm at a loss for what to guess.
I don't know. Like
okay. So if you think about it, if you think about it, right? I'm gonna be making. Okay, let's use margarita. I used this already, but let's use margarita for example.
Whiskey Wednesday, by the way. Like this is just so fucking perfect. But margarita. let's hear it.
So if I were to make a margarita, right, and I work at X establishment, any establishment, right, I'm gonna be making a margarita maybe once every 10 minutes or something, right? And so eventually one day I'm going to be like, okay, I make 10,000 margaritas, right? I'm going to wake up one day. I'm like, okay, this is my 10,000th margarita. Right. But yeah. I've had this question, and this, you could apply this to anything you do. Right. So if you make a margarita 10,000 times, how do you know on your 10,000th time that you've been making the margarita the best that you could, ever had? Or, this is the best margarita that you've made for you, right? And when sitting with that question, I'm like, maybe I've been making margaritas wrong, right? And so because I had that question, I was like, okay, so what if I slightly change and slightly alter the proportions, the ratios, right? The duration of shake, right? The style of shake, right? How can this affect this margarita, right? And it's very base, right? So you have your tequila, right? Whether it be reposado, añejo, or silver tequila. You would have some form of orange liqueur. You could use agave, honey, or simple syrup. and then you can use fresh. I prefer fresh lime. And so if you mess with those proportions, and then you mess with the time, duration of shake, observe the ice within your shaker as well. Eventually, someone that is sitting in front of you would say, "Hey, this is pretty good."
Yep.
After every variation that you've made ever so slightly, right? And then eventually, right, someone's gonna say, "This is the best fucking margarita I ever had," right? And then now when I hear that, I take note of that. And when I take note of that, I'm saying, "Oh shit, dude.
Yeah.
What if I hold on to this one and let's test this one out with all the other people's, right?"
Yep.
And then if the whole bar says, "Yo, what the heck is he drinking?" then that's the margarita.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't have to taste it myself.
Yeah. Jonathan is using proxies. It's like he's making the margaritas and he's observing the reaction of his customers. He's never had to taste the margarita at all, but he's using the customers' reactions as proxies. He's using like how many customers he gets as proxies. He's using maybe the amount, maybe they tip him more because they're getting a better drink as proxies. So all of those things could be used as proxies for Jonathan to identify, I'm probably either doing this better or doing it worse. It's like that positive feedback, right? Are they getting you positive feedback? Are they paying you more? Are you getting more customers? Are they coming back more often? Are they talking about you? So yes, use the proxies, and you never have to actually drink in order to identify if you're making a good drink or not, or if you're getting better or not.
I got 2 words, and it's data analysis. It's like the process of taking notes. That's what you're doing, bro. Like, you're an engineer. You're taking notes what the customer's like. You're paying attention to what you're doing. You're testing. You're doing input. This isn't some sloppy like, oh, I'm gonna try some here, try stuff there, blah 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 blah. Just kind of like winging it as we go along. It's like, no, you're paying attention to the process. You're like employing the scientific method when it comes to the marketing, when it comes to the technique. You're doing little differences here and there. You're tracking all of it. So like, there's a whole lot of value that comes from paying attention to the details, and that's what I'm fucking loving about this, man. This is fucking perfect.
I have something for that. It always makes me laugh when I think about it.
Yeah.
And so when I was going to school, right, and I've been going to school for I finished school, but when I went to school from 18 to 24, right? And being a working student, I didn't have a lot of time on my hands, right? So if I were to work at a restaurant, I'd be like, okay, I have 3 days, and within those 3 days, I have 6 hours, right? How do I maximize my dollar, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so if I do well, right? If I can make people happy, this is in the hopes that someone I meet in the Bay Area will probably, like me enough to either have me tag along with them or have an incentive to pay my tuition, right? And so, me doing really well was an extension of that, right? I never sought after me wanting to be the best bartender in the local area. I always tell people I'm probably the best bartender you've ever had or you'll ever see. However, I don't drink, but that's because all the what I wanted at my end goal. It just came with it. It's like how do I say it? It's they say it's like the journey that that builds you.
Yep.
I do see that. I do agree with that. But that was not my intention, but that's just how everything played out.
No, that's absolutely true. You remind me of the musical performer that performs really, really well because they've gone to all the streets and all the different locations. They've put their hat out on the street and they just sit there and they play, and people pay them money, and the better they play, the more money they make. And so by the process of elimination and trial and error and just gaining experience, you get the best street performers, you get the best bartenders, that's the similarity that I see. Is that striking a chord? Does that sound about right?
Yeah. And something fun I like to do with my guests as well is because I build things in front of them, their cocktails and everything. I ask them, hey, have you ever made a cocktail before? You want to shake my tin? You know, you want
you
to make it.
Bro,
Yeah.
I swear to God, you're a fucking hypnotist, man.
And so,
know it.
and so when they're, when they enjoy what they're doing, right? And then I'm like, hey, I did it. I just built it, and you made it, and I told you how to make it. So you're a bartender now. I'm like, yo, you like this,
man. I'm going to tell you the same thing that Charlie, Cultivate Crypto, shout out to him, told me. You're a salesman, Jonathan. You just don't know it. But like, not only are you a salesman, you're also a performer. So like, you're a salesman, you're an entertainer, you're an educator, and you're an analyst. So like, you combine all those things together, and you can fucking do whatever the hell you want. You can go anywhere that you need to go. If you just keep honing those skills, man, like, it's good.
The best salesmen are also pretty damn good performers. Check out the best
right.
salesman in the world right now, sitting at the top of the White House. He's also a pretty damn good performer, if I do say so myself.
Oh my God, this is so cool. This is so cool, bro. You're part of the DGen Roundtable. You're part of the family. I'm so stoked to be at like the beginning of your journey. This is so crazy cool. And it's like, it's not even the beginning. It's like
you pull up Bill's comment about
the heart surgeons.
What do what you do the best you can for the customer. That one.
Do what you do. There we go. Yep.
So Jonathan has it right. Do what you do the best you can for the customer, despite what you like. That's why they pay you, right? That is absolutely correct. You guys already know my political inclinations here at the DGen Roundtable, because we're not shy about it. I'm in Arizona. It's a purple state. I get crazy lefty liberals, and I get hyper forever Trumper conservatives. They never know what my political inclinations are. I sell equally to all of them.
Yes. And it works. It works great, man. Like you can do some fantastic stuff selling to everybody. You can sell to the left, you can sell to the right, up, down. Like, people have goals, people have preferences, people have things that they want to do. And speaking of people that have things that they want to do, we are being joined by another fantastic gentleman. Mr. C3 Works himself has coming up here with us. So, Mr. Bill, I'm going to add you to the stage. I see that you do not have a camera on right now, but I'm bringing you in. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for those of you that don't know, here is Mr. C3 Works of the Actuator Protocol, advancing the Hex ecosystem. They made some kick-ass protocols, or kick-ass protocol, the Actuator Protocol. And man, it seems like you've got some thoughts on bartending and just everything. What's going on, broski? How are you doing? Can we get a mic check from you, please?
Yeah, am I in the show? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you just fine. Your camera's off, but we can hear you. Or maybe your screen protector's on. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try to get the camera on. I'm not trying to hide it. I don't know why it's not on, but in the meantime,
that's all good, bro. We can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to hear you and talk with you. I'm glad. Oh, there I am. Look at that.
Hey, there he is.
Different source. How about that?
Beautiful.
All right.
Bill, quick question for you before we get started.
Yes,
are you
sir.
by chance Canadian?
No. Well, I actually have Canadian roots. My last name is actually Laprise, and it comes from my father's side of the family, which is French Canadian. But I am pure American.
I got you. Yeah, because for some reason it's like there's a little bit at the tail end of your intonations. You remind me of a very good friend of mine, also a good friend of the DGen Roundtable, Sam.
Yes.
I was like, right? It's like there's a little bit at the very end of Bill's sentences that I'm like, I can sense a tiny bit of Canadian in there.
Yep.
There is
not to dox you or nothing, but Bill, you're probably from somewhere up in the northern parts of the United States, my friend.
Well, I am. I'm kind of Midwestern in general, though right now I'm all over the place, but that's where I'm from. So that's very right. I like to say that we don't have accents in the Midwest. Come on. No, it's everybody else that has the accents.
Bro, Midwest definitely has an accent. I would say there's like, I don't know of anywhere in the States that has an accent or that doesn't have an accent. I tell people that I don't have an accent. I'm from Washington, but I don't know exactly what we got going on up there, but everyone's got an accent. You're doing just fine. Yo, so what brings you to join us on this fantastic Whiskey Wednesday, Mr. Bill? You got some thoughts on on Mr. Jonathan's salesmanship and his alcohol? You want to talk about Actuator? What's on your mind?
Oh, I was drawn in by Jonathan and your conversation about those points. And Jay there. You got some great points. I think it's really worth underlining and underscoring that, look, we need to kind of focus on not just what we like. That's fine if you're just simply doing what you want to do somewhere. But when somebody's paying you, when somebody is engaging you, when somebody is commissioning you through some mechanism, whatever it might be, whether it's time, money, attention, something you don't actually have a claim on, right? We don't have claims on other people's time or other people's money or other people's attention. But when they give that to us, they've entrusted something to us. And they've done that for their goals, not yours. And so the most successful people come from recognizing that point and saying, somebody has entrusted me with their time, money, talents, treasures, attention. And my objective here is to serve them in whatever way it is, despite what it is I'm doing in my life, which I have every prerogative to do apart from this moment. And I really feel like Jonathan's expressed that very well, that you've brought that point out here. And, you know, some of my comments were aimed at making that distinction. There's things I do for clients, partners, business people, a lot of different frames where I wouldn't necessarily pick things the same way they would, but I have to lay that aside because I've been commissioned by them to serve them. In the US securities world, we call that suitability, right? The concept of suitability is a big deal. I come out of TradFi. Some of you know that, some of you might not, but whatever. The fact is, you have a duty. In fact, the SEC, who we all have, you know, that's one of those 3-letter words that should be a 4-letter word, but let's forgo that for the moment. The fact is, there is an element of legitimate purpose there that they often forsake. But the concept is that people in positions of trust, say someone influencing you about money, has a bit of a duty to not just like ape you and usurp you and exploit you. They actually have a duty to serve you despite what serves their interest. And we all kind of know that in the form of a sense of justice. We don't want to be taken advantage of. We know what it looks like in the reverse. So how do we make sure we're not becoming perpetrators of that? And the answer is to get this motivational thing right. And I think that what we've been having for a conversation is really important because it's, you know, whether you're bartending or selling something, you know, selling something else, monetary or otherwise, you have a duty to serve the interests of others in that particular scope. And I love the fact that you've made that point here. That's all.
Yeah, dude, that's perfect. I'd seen this this post earlier on X about fathers and mothers raising their children to like not think about allowance as like the operating, you know, the operating circumstance of life, but to chase, like to get their kids to chase money by pursuing, you know, gigs. Like there's preventative maintenance stuff that kids are expected to do in the house. Like, you know, you brush your teeth, you make your bed, you clean your toys off the floor, blah de da. But then like outside of that, like baseline level of expectation and agreements, like just this is the foundation you build yourself upon. Like you go past that and you start pursuing value, like, hey dad, I want to mow the grass for you, or like, hey mom, instead of you doing the laundry, I'm going to do the laundry, or like, you know, the kids going out of their way, or like, hey, I'm going to go out and about in the neighborhood and go like start asking them if they want to buy lemonade or do something. The point is like starting from a position and a perspective of provide value first and then like move forward from there. So does that resonate kind of with what you're saying, Bill?
Oh my goodness, couldn't be more. Let me challenge you with this thought. Let me challenge everybody listening with this thought. What is the definition of corruption? Seriously, what is it? Rhetorically, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'll offer mine when you're ready. I just want you to think about this for a minute. We all seem to know corruption when we see it. but we never challenge ourselves with what that means. So,
Can I take a shot at it, Bill?
Yeah, please.
So, corruption to me is taking an idea. Let's just talk about an idea, for example. An idea that's supposed to represent something, could be X, Y, and Z, and then it's morphed into something that's antithetical to itself.
So give me a
If that makes
concrete.
sense. So let's say you were a car salesman and you're selling somebody a car and it was supposed to take them from A to Z, right? And your goal is to provide them a product that allows them to travel. But then you're like a used car salesman who, instead of providing them something that's supposed to get them from A to B, only gets them from A to B for like 6 months, and then suddenly the car craps out on them, right? And so the car salesman has a duty to provide their customers with a car that gets them from A to B for like the average lifespan of whatever that vehicle is, right? But then you've now sold them something that doesn't do what what it's supposed to do, right? So it's antithetical. Like what they're doing is antithetical to what they're supposed to be doing, right? It's in stark contrast to what you would think about them as like if you were to think of the archetype good car salesman, right? I guess that's a better way to think about it, right? You think of the archetype good salesman, and then corruption is the complete opposite of that.
Oh shit! It keeps playing after I play. Sorry, I'm trying out producer stuff here. That seemed like good timing, but yeah. So corruption is just, if I want to tag on what you're saying, corruption is just like the thing that you see one thing and it's supposed to be that, but it's not. It's a different thing. It's a bastardization of what like is reality. Is that kind of what you're saying, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me build on it, because
okay.
I love where we're headed. And this is really important. And it goes all the way back to the bartender comment. So let me build on this in general first. We could go back to the bartender comment, or we could extend this all the way to the highest levels of government, because this is critical. We use that word all the time, and we don't actually give it thought as to what it means, such that we might recognize it if we were like guilty of it, right? So here's how I would carry this into a generalization. The points you gave are good. I love the used car salesman. But if I were to try to make this succinct, I might offer this for consideration. It's the application of power that you've been entrusted with beyond the limits of the interests of those who gave it to you. There's the generalization, right? So to Agent Jay's idea with the car salesman, the people who are customers came in having certain goals in mind, and they entrusted a certain level of power, which we can call influence. Influence is a form of power. Government, with the power of the sword, compulsion, is a broader extension of power, but it's power nonetheless, right? Somebody hands over a form of power to someone else. What do they do with the power? Well, they can either act in a way that honors the objectives of those who gave them the power, or they can utilize it and exploit it for their own purposes. There's the distinction.
Can I steal that, Bill? I want to steal that quote. So your quote,
put it out there everywhere.
Corruption is the application of power beyond what is expected or agreed upon. Yeah. Like that?
Well, beyond the interests of those who gave it to you.
Somebody beyond the interests of those who gave it.
Somebody gives you power.
I think I could sum it up like in a few words. It's it's the deliberate use and the conscious abuse of your received power.
Yes. And if you think in those terms, anytime you see somebody using power that they seem to have beyond the limits of the interests of those who gave it to them, by definition, that's corruption.
Yeah.
Now, just try to apply that to government, and you're going to see it everywhere. But you can see
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Right. Because I mean, you brought up the example of government. It's probably the better example, right? The best example, better than the used car salesman example, because we elect our government officials to represent us, right? They're supposed to represent us, and they're supposed to work within our best interest. That's why we, like you said, we gave them that power. But a corrupt government official, the corrupt government official takes that power and acts outside of the scope of what we elected them to do, right? Instead of acting in our own best interest, their constituents, they act for their own best interest.
Exactly. Now, the used car salesman can do that too. He can take influential power and use deceit and other tactics and serve his own interests to the disregard of the client who is trusting him. That too is corruption. It's not less than the government corruption. It might have a lesser impact from a societal standpoint, but it's no less corrupt. And if we would learn to understand that that's what corruption is, nobody has a right to have power over anybody else. And when they do,
bingo,
there is a stewardship responsibility which they can either honor or they can extort.
Yep.
And therein lies the definition.
Yep. Oh man, I love this. I love the direction this is going. This is reminding me of Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power. It's also reminding me of Stephen Chandler with the expectations versus agreements. This is just open up a big, beautiful rabbit hole. I love it.
I love the 48 Laws example, because a lot of folks tend to demonize Robert Greene for his work with the 48 Laws of Power. But the way that I always understood that particular piece of literature is that Robert Greene is telling you ways to just recognize it, and so that you can avoid being corrupted by the bad ways in which you can use the 48 Laws, and also to recognize it within other people. So you can learn how to navigate around those types effectively. It's not a rule set of say, hey, here's how to use the 48 laws in order to your advantage. It's more of like, hey man, here's what they are. Learn how to recognize them, and so you can recognize how to navigate around these particular personality types if you ever came across them. Right? It's not a how-to guide on how to execute it.
Yes. Dude, you're tapping on something that gets me excited, Jay. It's like, if I come out with if I build a brand new hammer and I put out a manual that says, hey, this is how you use the hammer. You swing it and you hit things with it, right? I'm not saying you go and you hit nails, and I'm not saying you go and you hit puppies. I'm saying this is how you use the hammer, right? Yeah. This is the tool. This is the device. This is the use case. This is the way that it works. Do with it what you will.
Yeah.
That's the people do demonize Robert Greene unfairly. And I agree with you on that. And the point is he's writing a manual. He is empowering people with knowledge. He's not the arbiter of morality or ethics. He's simply saying, this is something that exists, and you can use it for good. You can use it for bad. The point is, I want to teach you how to use it, so that way you are more empowered and you're better off as a result of it.
And it's so unfortunate, because unfortunately, most of the people who I've come across who've either heard or read the book have that interpretation, right? It's the negative interpretation, like, this is for the sociopaths. And I'm like, not really.
Sociopaths can use it. So can non-sociopaths. Everyone can use it. It's like knives exist. You can learn how to use a knife, or you can just remain oblivious your entire life and have no clue. Sorry, Bill, you were going to say something there, broski.
I love it, Will. That's exactly what I was going to say. The thing to understand is the instrument itself is amoral, meaning it's non-moral, right? Yeah. And I was going to use the example of the knife. Is a knife moral or immoral? Answer, no. It's a frickin' tool. It's the wielder of the knife that the corruption or depravity resides in the heart of the one who uses it, not the tool itself.
Correct.
I don't care whether it's a rock, a knife, or a nuclear bomb. Whatever the thing is not the moral question. It resides in the heart of the user always.
Yeah.
And if misdirection confuses us, we're going to be some kind of a victim, because that's not how it works, right?
Yeah.
Corruption resides in the heart of a human being, period.
Not in the tool. Absolutely. Yeah. You guys want to talk about something that'll get us in trouble?
Yes, let's do it.
So because we're on the subject, I remember the story the Jordan Peterson spoke when he speaks about Adolf Hitler, and Jordan Peterson speaks quite a bit about Adolf Hitler. And one time he got the question of should you learn anything from Adolf Hitler?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
there you go. But the common response is a very finger wavy response is, why would you ever want to learn somebody from that homicidal maniac? And then Peterson's response was, you study Hitler because Hitler was charismatic. He knew how to give the crowd back what they wanted to hear. You'll see his speeches every single time he spoke about something and the crowd had a muted response. He would circle back and give them back whatever gave him a booming response. He was a master of psychology. So the correct answer is not don't study Adolf Hitler. The correct answer is study Adolf Hitler, and you take those things that made him charismatic and you use it for good, and you don't use it to become a homicidal maniac that wants to commit genocide. That's the lesson you should take from Adolf Hitler.
Absolutely.
So I actually have something about that actually.
Go ahead, brother.
So my I know how you guys like kind of enjoyed my little personality. But my personality was it's actually learned. So I was here's another story. I was 18.
Document how you learned it, bro, so that way other people can learn it too, and you can make a fucking massive buck on teaching other people how to do what you do.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you the story, and then this YouTube stuff is gonna immortalize it.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so I was 15, right? I was teaching some kindergartners how to do some math, right? And at the time I was in high school. I was just having fun, just teaching, because it's something I like to do. I like to do on the side. But then this little girl, she was like, she had a particular mindset, right? A very scientific mind, a childlike mind, always asking questions. Like, I thought she was freaking annoying. She's like, Jonathan, why do you do that? What's the purpose of this? What's that? What's this? What's that? Right? And I was like, wait a second. Wait, this girl's actually really smart, because instead of me telling her like this is how things should be done, she's asking me, what's the purpose of this? Why is that? And I come to realize that as we become adults and as we grow older, we kind of form this ego. It's like, why should I learn from him? Right? Same thing. It's like what Jay was saying with Adolf Hitler. It's like, why should I learn from that guy? Right? He's a bad man. Right? But from observing this little girl and just saying and for her asking me these questions, like, why? I'm like, wait a second. If I applied those questions to my life and to whatever I'm doing, why should I be doing this? Why should I be doing that? If I do this, would this make something better, right? And then this comes into the if-then statements, the cause and the effect, right? That childlike mind actually enables anyone to do self-improvement without them realizing it.
Yep.
And it's inherent learning without all the effort. So just to go back to what Jay was saying, it's like, why should you learn from that bad man? That's because there are aspects of a bad man, and this is what I came to the conclusion. I think everyone has wisdom, whether they be some either you could call someone a low life, right? But they might have something to say, something useful, right? Everyone has wisdom.
Dude, you nailed it right on the head. It's something that I tell everybody all the time. there is wisdom and knowledge to be extracted even from your worst enemies. And you would do well to extract the knowledge and wisdom because your time is finite. You don't have the bandwidth to learn everything about everything in the entire world. So outsource that knowledge and wisdom to other people, even if you don't like them, because I mean, it's a benefit to you.
That's like some Sun Tzu Art of War stuff right there, bro. I love it.
Like, I was probably related to Sun Tzu. But before we move on the conversation, I just got to update the chat, gang. Bitcoin just, I think, hit close to so we got 98.5. So 98.5, we're making a run for $100,000. So just please, gang, remember, for those who caught the stream earlier this morning, please move your stop losses to 98K to lock in those profits. Just a little PSA for the gang.
Is that stop losses for the longs or the shorts?
For the longs, yeah, because we had several take profits along the way, and so both of them have been hit. So we got to move our stop losses up if people aren't closing their positions and letting it ride. That way, if price comes back down, you've locked in some profits.
Excellent.
So,
we like
just
it.
A little bit of risk management. I
like it. But back to Sun Tzu and the art of war, of like knowing yourself, know thy enemy, know everybody. Like literally, there is no limit to the stuff that you guys should be learning. You should be learning from Hitler. You should be learning from Mao Zedong. You should be learning from Gandhi. You should be learning from MLK. You should be learning from JFK. You should be learning from every fucking buddy, because everyone's got some sort of thing that they can teach you, right? Even the homeless people on the side of the streets, you have to determine what amount of knowledge you can extract from everybody that exists, and what are the things that you need to get done. They're going to be different from what I need to get done. They're going to be different from what Jay, from what Bill, from what Jonathan, like from what every one of us needs to get done. You have to figure out your goals. You have to figure out the best way to get there. You have to figure out the tools and the knowledge and the learning that you need to get to that point. And you also need to know what your enemies are doing. You also need to know what the people that are going to oppose you are doing. So like, don't Fahrenheit 451 yourself. Don't burn all the books that could teach you the things that you might need to know. Yeah, that's my point. Bill, what you got?
Will I add a point onto this?
Yeah, please.
This is such an important conversation, and I commend you all for raising this. And I hope everybody's giving this some really serious thought, because the direction of your life could depend on how you actually apply this stuff. It's that important. So a nuance that I'll add for consideration would be this. Thinking about Hitler, I think it's right when we consider the question of, should we learn something from a bad man like that? What that does is it makes us think about two separate axes. Axis one would be good versus evil. Someone's a good person or a bad person. That's actually an ethical question, right?
Yes.
Good versus evil is an ethical question. Can't escape that. The second axis is skilled versus unskilled, proficiency versus unproficiency. The question of wisdom is actually a third definitional point.
Ooh, so I like the direction.
Yeah. I want to suggest, so we don't conflate things too much. I think we can probably grasp where I'm going here for the moment without even imputing a definition of my own. I'm just pointing out there's two axes. There's ethically good and ethically evil. That's one dimension. And we all have a mindset about Hitler. There's a second dimension, skilled versus unskilled, proficiency versus unproficiency. That's the second axis. But this question of wisdom is a different question, is my point. Now, what I'm going to suggest is when we look at someone like a Hitler, we normally all coalesce. Normally, there are psychopaths, there are those who disagree. Got you with that. But most of us would agree Hitler was ethically bankrupt, and we would not identify with the ethics behind why he would do what he did. Okay, that's one question. But the other dimension was his skill and proficiency versus lack of skill. Now, he was very skilled at what he did, though he was ethically bankrupt in why he did it. Okay, to that extent, it's reasonable to say, I don't agree with him at all ethically, but I can concur he was skilled and proficient at influencing and achieving certain goals that I would never want, but I would love to be able to apply the skills for the things I know are good. That's fair. That's very fair. Notice the word wisdom didn't enter that discussion, though.
So far,
So far, what I would propose, just as and precision here matters, because language is a big deal. When people hijack our brains over language, we can go way off the range fast.
Absolutely.
So I would suggest that you contemplate the word wisdom as truth applied.
Yep.
Now that introduces a whole new dimension. I won't drag you down that rabbit hole, but when you begin to think about wisdom as truth applied, it immediately demands, well, what is true? And then what's the right application of it?
Yep.
That's almost like a third dimension in a way, because it calls for knowing something about truth. I'm going to say that interweaves a bit with things like ethics, but I won't drag you down the rabbit hole. For the moment, I'm just making the differentiation between the spectrum of good and evil that Hitler manifested something about, and the question of skilled or unskilled, and can we learn from that? And Sun Tzu's Art of War, by the way, makes a lot of good points about this, that, hey, learn from issues about the proficiency or lack of proficiency of your enemy and be able to do something about that. Don't interfere with your enemy if he's in the process of destroying himself, right? There's all kinds of things that come out of that particular book that do give you an ability to apply truth wisely. That part's true. But just recognize that the definition of something like wisdom comes down to establishing what true is and then applying it. So anyway, great conversation.
Yeah. It's like I'm guessing it's like a distinction that people try to make between knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, Bill?
Yeah.
Right? It's like knowledge is the, like, you gain a lot of knowledge when you have your tenure in college, right? You spend your 4 degrees undergraduate. Once you graduate, you have a certain knowledge base that you acquire from your peers, from your professors. But wisdom is actually applying that knowledge, right? You could have the best knowledge of how to execute a plan on paper, but unless you actually execute that plan, you don't know if it's the best for every situation, for only particular situations. Or is it, or where you sold a false bill of goods and it wasn't actually the best, right? You don't get the wisdom without the application.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, we are having such a good conversation. This is fantastic. Jonathan, do you have any thoughts that you want to contribute to this? And I'm going to take us a different direction as soon as you're done, if you got anything.
No, I was just listening.
This is super good, folks. Like, save this in your playlists. The point is, you guys need to learn everything. You need to empower yourselves with as many tools as possible that you can use to self-better your to improve yourself and to arm yourself with the most things that will get you what you want out of life, right? Whether you want good things, whether you want bad things, left things, right things, all that other stuff. Like, this is such a fantastic conversation. I love the direction that it's going. And we got to take a break and we got to do some chat motherfucking shout outs because, like, man, you guys have been super awesome and super active in the chat motherfucking shout outs. So it is time for us to go through that part of the show. So, gentlemen, if you will bear with me, I'm going to roll through this chat shout outs. I've starred all of the folks that have joined us. We are joined first and foremost by none other than Miss Luna C. Point. She is saying, hey, with the little heart emoji. It's good to see you, Miss Luna C. Point. Shout out to you and welcome to the DGen Roundtable. Next up, we've got joining us Mr. Dre Sims. There's too many union breaks in the bathroom. Yes, I agree, good sir. These damn union workers are just slacking off and doing all the other stuff. That's why you see us here at the DGen Roundtable, non-union workers, providing some good content for you, my friend. Good to see you, Dre Sims. Welcome, welcome. Next up, we got Miss Emily. Good to see everyone with the little smiley face. Shout out to you, Emily. Welcome, welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you here before on the DGen Roundtable. Glad that we could have you with us tonight. Next up, we're joined by none other than our favorite Farmer Brown, or excuse me, Farmer J, Mr. Brown. Welcome, welcome. When 2 weeks? Bro, it's always 2 weeks. We're always just waiting 2 weeks until the next thing. And speaking of the next thing that we're waiting for, Mr. Kenturian 54X, in 2 more weeks, we'll finally have received that 2 weeks wait, Mr. Farmer. So these guys are trolling. These guys are having awesome fun. So we love to see you, Mr. Farmer J and Mr. Kenturian 54X. After that, though, we've got Moon-Pilled Rational Optics rolling in, one of our classic DGens. He gives us all of the book recommendations. Shout out to you, Mr. Moon-Pilled Rational Optics. What's up, gentlemen? What's up to you too, sir? I will drink as soon as I'm done with these chat shout outs. I've got quite a few left to go through. We're also joined by Mr. Hex Glenn. Whatever you do the best of your ability. I like it. You're abso-fucking-lutely right. You guys need to be maxing out your contribution to the world, because that will give you a sense of satisfaction, that will give you a sense of purpose, and it will keep you alive for the longest. And we want you guys alive for as long as possible, so you can do the most best things that are available. Next up, we've got Miss Crypto Stylist. Good morning, DGens. Good morning to you too, ma'am. We are glad to see you rocking and rolling in from somewhere in Asia. I believe Korea or South Korea, something like that. Good to see you, Miss Crypto Stylist. Welcome, welcome to the channel. And then we've also got Dr. H, the Crypto Practor. Hey, DGens, how the fuck are you all? How the fuck are you, broski? Good to see you, Dr. H. For those of you guys that don't know, Dr. H, the Crypto Practor, he is a chiropractor, and he does some fantastic work educating gentlemen and ladies on the stuff that's going on up in the cryptocurrency space. He's also got this other thing. Hey, Crypto Stylist, how you been? Been a while since Vegas. How's Korea? So good to see you all. Welcome, welcome to the chats. And that concludes our chat shoutouts. Mr. Agent J, Mr. Bill, Mr. Jonathan, thank you guys for doing everything that we're talking about here. What else is on your guys' mind? We've covered a lot of stuff today. Is there any sort of pressing thoughts that any of you guys have as far as pulse? Oh, Jay, you've got something? What's up?
Since we got Bill on here, we obviously finally got a resolution with Richard Hart's case. You as somebody who's a creator within the Pulse Chain community, with the actuator protocol, something that serves Hex. What are you looking forward to the most, man, in terms of like Richard coming back to streaming? Like what's next? What's next for actuator? What's next for Pulse Chain in general? What are you looking forward to the most, man?
Wow, great question. I'm looking forward to what the entirety of the ecosystem can and will do. You know, Richard Hart can do whatever he chooses to do. I think he's right in saying we don't get any expectations of him. He's done his part, right? His part was to produce the foundation that we actually have. And he's gone above and beyond that in ways that most of us will never be tested. Never. He had to decide whether to sacrificially step out and take on some of the biggest demons in the world in the form of corrupt entities. How about that? And slay dragons that most of us will never have to try to slay. But he did that part because he believed that the thing he started would enable a greater purpose over the course of time if he enabled it. And so he's done that. So as much as I'm grateful for what he has done, and I'd be thrilled if he chooses to do more, I'm not looking at the future with an eye towards what he will do, but to what we can do, which was much of the motivation behind my gathering a team and launching development activity that resulted in Actuator to enable and build upon what we already have. And I'm hugely motivated by seeing the enthusiasm and commitment of others who are willing to bring their skills to the table, whatever those are. And if you're a developer, of course, develop. And we have lots of them. If you're a content creator, Will, great job. I'm so thrilled that you do what you do. I mean, you're fantastic at connecting people. All the details that you do behind the scenes that many are not seeing, like connecting local people, that is a huge thing, you know, and everybody brings something that they're good at or capable of, or they have resources in. And that is what excites me. And I just want to keep us motivated to pushing the flywheel down that direction, because that becomes the piece that's not stoppable. And all these dimensions, whether it's privacy, true DeFi, individual freedoms, monetary sovereignty. I mean, I could rattle off these buzzwords, but they're far more than buzzwords. They're freedoms that have been eroded over time. And there's very few environments that enable us to take those back. And Pulse Chain and all that's on it represents a very significant means for doing that. So I'm excited by that.
I do have a question for you. So I might be out of the loop, but what is the function of this actuator?
Ooh, that's a can of worms.
Yeah, it's a deep rabbit hole, but I'm going to answer it succinctly first. It's to provide some market-based liquidity to Hex stakeholders. I would start there in a sentence. It's to provide some market-based liquidity to Hex stakeholders in the form of tokenized Hex that gives them some options, some nuances, something more than simply set it and forget it. I don't want Actuator, and Actuator's goal is not to undermine the principle of delayed gratification. That's not the goal. I think that's a valid and important goal. But there is a need for nuance if we're hoping to attract large capital. I come out of TradFi. I've worked many years, decades, with the largest of institutional clients. And I'm here to say that they understand the concept of delayed gratification. That's not a wrong principle. But the application of that principle in the world of professional investors looks a little bit different than set it and forget it. There does have to be some tooling, some risk management opportunity, some ability to make adjustments over time, or else their solution is to solve by narrowing their allocation to the space. Well, I don't want them to resort to little application or allocation to the space. I want them to allocate more. But that means they have to have some tooling, some risk management adjustments, and that's what we do today.
I gotta say, having used the actuator protocol, man, is that a fucking nifty tool. I should probably do a deep dive at some point. Do you guys have a video series on how to like click every button that's on the site and how to like break everything and how to do all the stuff and all that? Is that something that you guys have available already?
We have a fair amount of that. In fact,
Okay.
if you go to actuator.finance,
Okay.
that's the main website, and scroll down, you'll see a whole bunch of YouTube clips. And those
Okay.
clips deal with parts of that, right? So there's components there. And then what we've done along the way, guys like Crispy Man, if you're familiar with
Yes.
him, he's a big dude, a really serious analytical data fellow that is
Yes.
devoted to Hex. I mean, the man's good. And
Oh, he's
we
so good.
work with him to try to explain and show him what's going on. And he's beginning to see all kinds of things about how valuable it can be. So we're attempting to provide content through the community to help them get bigger and bigger pictures. We just did, we've done multiple conferences. We did one with Randy Hilarski's No Permissions group down in Panama. We did the Hex conference with Maddie Allen earlier this year. We did the Pulse Chain conference over in Las Vegas with RG3. We just completed the one that RH Max did. I mean, we're trying to get different parts of this out through various avenues, and guys like the DGen Roundtable, you guys have been great from earliest inceptions, from before anyone knew there was an actuator. You guys have been here with us, and we appreciate that. So we do a lot of that content you'll find on their sites as well.
Bill, would you say that so the way that I've always thought about actuator, to explain it to myself simply, is that I compared it to Hedron, icosahedron, because it added a lot of utility to an otherwise very one-dimensional protocol, right? It's like, hey, here you stake long-term, you exercise delayed gratification, and you get rewarded for it, right? It's very one-dimensional in that aspect. Is that a fair comparison? Like, you added utility to Hex in a very similar way that icosahedron did. So you added dimension to an otherwise fairly simple but elegant one-dimensional project.
I think that's very fair. I think that what Alex did with Hedron and Icosa, and I'm a day one Hexkin. I've been through all of it, right? With skin in the game for all of it. So I totally understand. And a lot of the motivation for the things we did were from the forging of those fires, right? I get it. And I have great respect for Alex and all that he built and did. And I participated in all that stuff. And I still own those positions. So yes, I love that he was building on the Hex protocol, that he was trying to create more capabilities and tooling within the starting point that Richard Hart gave us. Richard Hart has always said, you want it? Go build it. Well, some have risen to do that, and he's right about that. So what we did with Actuator was sought to build on the shoulders of giants, like what Richard Hart did, even like what Alex did. In fact, the Actuator protocol actually extends the HSI protocol that Alex put into place, Hedron put into place, right? We didn't rewrite code to do what he already did well. We brought that in and built upon that to go even further.
I think it is a good comparable, because you guys use the HSI system that is built on top of the icosahedron, and it does give a ton of liquidity option to Hex stakers and folks that want to, I don't know, maybe perhaps do something different with their Hex stakes that are built on the, like as an NFT, as a tokenized HSI or something. They can put it into the Actuator protocol, and they can trade it for a third-party token, whether it's the HTT 3000, the 5000, or the 7000. You know, those numbers represent the day that the stake ends in the Hex numerology, not numerology, the Hex end day, the end day of your stake compared to the day that Hex was launched. So like right now we're on like Hex day 1900 and something, or maybe Hex day 2000 or something like that. I don't know exactly what Hex day we're on.
3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah. So like we're getting up there in Hex days. So Hex day 3000 is coming up in the next 1,000 or so days. Hex 5000 is coming up in the next, however, do the math, right? So HTT 3000.
It's 2.8 years. It's on our protocol. If you went to app.actuator.finance and look right in the middle of the page, it'll tell you all 3 HTTs and exactly what date those are due and how many years it is from now.
Exactly. And there's potential for more to be added if the protocol is successful and people want to add more like theoretical HTTs down the road. If the 3000 is great, and like by the time that it rolls around, people fucking love the way that it's going. Like there's room for improvement, and there's room for more of these tokens to be added. So like what you guys are doing is phenomenal, because you're giving people that have Hex stakes the option to do the same thing that people do in the traditional finance system. And I don't understand how all of that magic stuff works. It's all fairy dust to me, but I've used it before, and it's like, oh wow, I can like multiply the power of my Hex stakes significantly using the Actuator protocol. So what you guys are doing is awesome, and it's fantastic, and I love the stuff that y'all are building. I know that I was talking to you and both Crispy Man at the Pulse Chain conference that I need to get the two of you guys on one stream and just ask you guys a bunch of questions and do all the brainstorming and stuff. So that's still got to happen, and I've got to get my ass together and get something scheduled between you guys. But like your protocol is absolutely fantastic, and it gives a lot more tools to people that would normally just be like, oh, I'm stuck in stake. Well, I guess I'll just wait till the very end, and then that's when I can access it. It's like, no, it gives you the opportunity to sell your hex stake, to not sell, but like put half authority into the protocol to do protocol stuff, and then you get like a nice little reward from that, and you can access liquidity from your hex stake before your hex stake is all the way over. So it's another thing that's built on top of Hex, similar to Communist, similar to Hedron, similar to all those, similar to the HSIs, right? It's just another thing that's built on top of Hex using the delayed gratification model that gives you guys in the audience more tools to use this financial product to whatever means you determine are necessary. So definitely check out how the protocol works. Definitely make sure that you understand what's going on and how to use it before you just hop in there and start pressing buttons and clicking around, right? Remember, none of the stuff that we talk about on the show is financial advice. We're just here to give you guys information, right? We're not here to tell you how to swing the hammer around, whether you're going to go hit nails or hit puppies or something. We're here to just tell you that things exist, and it's up to you to go out and figure out how to use them and figure out what your goals are and find that happy medium in there to get all the best stuff accomplished and whatnot. So that's my little spiel. Man.
Hey,
let's see. Go ahead, Jay.
Before we kind of round things off, Will, because we're nearing the top of the hour, I did have one more question that I wanted to pose to Bill, and then for Jonathan here, because obviously they're both very big Hexicans. So it seems like on the surface, the biggest hurdle for the ecosystem has already been cleared, and that is the litigation that Richard Hart was involved in with the SEC, and that seems to have been cleared. However, I think there exists an even larger hurdle at this current moment in time, at least how I see it personally, and that is, it seems that the community that once stood in solidarity has now fractured completely. Right. We might have had our legal issues already overcome, but I think that's a bigger issue. Here at the DGen Roundtable, we're very fortunate to spend a lot of time with RG3, with SJ, and they're always, with Tam, for example, and they're always focused on community building. But every single time I step foot inside crypto Twitter, and there's a lot of Hexicans that populate my feed because I engage in a lot of Hex and Pulse Chain related content. It seems like everybody has fractured into these different tribes, and they're instead of the community building, instead of standing in solidarity against what we should be rallying against, which was the unfair treatment of the SEC. It seems that for the latter half of the past year and a half, we've spent it throwing shit at each other. So like how do you feel about the current state of the community? Is that something that we can recover from? Is it something that we can move forward from? Because I think that's actually a much bigger hurdle than the case, because if we can't even stick together and we're already the black sheep of the crypto community in general, how can we expect others to see the value in what we're providing if we're all just infighting?
I love the question. Can I ask you a question?
Sir.
What's better, tyranny or anarchy?
Oh, I would say anarchy.
I would say anarchy as well.
Yeah.
I would say neither. They're both going to destroy society.
Oh, for sure.
So there is no better. Tyranny will destroy society, and anarchy will destroy society. I can show you tyranny in China. I can show you anarchy in warlords in Africa. Which do you want to be? The answer is none of them.
Yep.
However, where did Western civilization come up with the notion of university? What's the root of these things that we consider important, educational, foundational advances that brought us out of the dark ages, called university? What's embodied in that word? University. The answer is unity and diversity somehow coming together. That's what that is. The goal of unity through compulsion and tyranny is not a goal. We could seek that and we would all be forced into conformance. Do you want that? I don't want that. Yet, likewise, perfect diversity. Everybody's their own little law unto themselves, doing their own thing. We might as well say, kill and be killed. Is that really the society you want? The biggest and baddest rules. Is that what you want? Might makes right. I don't think so. Not throughout history. That's proven really nasty for society. Might makes right. If you can kill and pillage your neighbor, do it. That's not good. So how do you harmonize something that's not perfect tyranny and perfect anarchy? You bring it together in something that is actually pro-social, not anti-social. And that answer comes through some harmonizing. There is something law-like that is binding the unity and the diversity. That's where universities came from, was the idea of how do we bring that together? So when I look at Pulse Chain, I see that reflected. I see a unity of objective. We all embody and embrace certain really important ethical foundational values like freedom, like monetary sovereignty, like privacy is a human right, right? Like not your keys, not your coin. I want to be able, I'll take responsibility for myself. Thank you. Don't deplatform me. I see things that every one of us can subscribe to, and that's why we're here. And yet at the same time, we can have a diversity about how we are about getting there. I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, that is the health measure of the ecosystem. We need that, because do I want to guess which tribe has the perfect way to get there? No, I really don't. I have an opinion. That doesn't mean I'm right. But the rubbing against each other and let the best idea win and work it out is really important. And don't let somebody compel everybody else to their view. So I think we're doing it right. I find it to be encouraging. Friction is actually a process that's necessary to get to a good goal and end. If we don't permit an abuse that becomes a China-like approach to stifle and squash all voices. So that's my view. I like it.
So I have a opinion on the Pulse Chain community as well. So I think a lot of the fragmentation between the community is because a major part, there was a lack of a principal figure to look up to. So from how things were, Richard Hart had been absent for quite some time. And also all these little Pulse Chain communities that pop up. People want to hear what they want to hear, right? Everyone, or from what I've been observing, a lot of people are contingent on the SAC prices and the use of the SAC funds, right? And also it's like the community, when they branch off themselves, they have their own toxic opinions, right? And then opinions about other opinions on other people or other communities, right, within the same community. And I think that's what's the fracture. There is no principal figure that we're all collectively looking up to that can kind of suppress all the negativity, recollect everyone to say, hey, this is our collective vision. I think that's what we're lacking at the moment, and that's why the Pulse Chain community is quite upset and quite fractured.
I like these answers, man.
I certainly appreciate the views of both Bill and Jonathan. Bill in particular, because for the longest time I've always held the stance that because we've been completely fractured, it's going to be a lot more difficult to move forward. And Bill actually gave me an alternative scenario there, right? It's like the fracturing of the community, although to some degree is bad, is also going to be beneficial in the sense that you allow you allow contrasting ideas to fight against each other, and then you let the best one win.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
you let the market decide. And as somebody who likes allowing the markets to decide and to not be spoon fed everything to them, I am very satisfied with that alternative answer. And so thank you, because I've never considered that alternative. I always thought that the fracturing of the pulse chain community, where we once stood in solidarity would potentially spell doom for us, but you've just given me a different perspective.
Far from it. It's the measure of health in a sense. And look, let me officially say here, I would never for a second presume to speak for Richard Hart. So don't misunderstand what I'm about to say. I cannot speak for that man. He's done accomplishments far beyond what I'll ever achieve in this space, and I'm deferential. However, I would ask this question. Do you really think that he's doing all that he's doing and sacrificing all of the components of his life that he's had to put up, that he's had to live with a horror show of stuff that he's had to deal with, so that he can have a bunch of people who just want to follow him until whatever day he dies? And then what? Is that why he's doing this? I doubt it. I think he's hoping to empower a community of freer thinkers than that want to actually change the world. And they're not going to do it by just lining up behind somebody, even him. If we're so inclined to line up behind some leader, we're going to end up being sucked down the road of following the wrong leader one day. He doesn't want that, is my guess. I'm not him. I can't speak for him. But it would seem to me, as I get a sense of his ethos, he wants people who are prepared to stand for freedom. And freedom requires this university model. We can't ever become the tyrant, and we can't ever become the anarchist that thinks might makes right. We have to let the conflict of ideas work themselves out in a social way. And we have that crucible working right now.
Agreed. That is certainly a perspective that that I've never considered. So again, right, it's thank you for sharing it, because now I have a newfound understanding of just exactly how this can be beneficial, as opposed to something that could potentially, like I mentioned earlier, spell doom for the entire pulse chain project as a
Amen,
whole.
brother.
Yeah, but you're correct, man. It's like let ideas battle each other out. Whether these folks think that, because we know that we have some very loud voices within the pulse chain ecosystem that think they're doing better than Richard Hart. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Let those ideas battle each other out in the open, and let the best idea win.
There you go.
I will say, I don't see a whole lot of billionaires in the pulse chain ecosystem other than Richard Hart. So
let them pony up to the table.
Exactly. Allegedly. And I just want to remind the folks at home that a crucible is a very important part of the metallurgy process. For those of you guys that are fellow metal workers out there, the crucible is the device in which all of the metal is melted. So like when you take all of your aluminum cans, your scrap iron, your copper bits and baubles and whatever, whenever you're combining a whole bunch of metal in a pot to melt it down, the pot that it all melts down inside of is the crucible. So that's the thing that like you put all the heat, all the stress, all the everything in, and that's what forms your brand new liquid, which you then pour into the molds, and you form the new future that you want to like move forward with. So the crucible is like the most crucial part of the metallurgy process and the reforming of the old into the new. So just some thoughts for the folks at home to think about as we end this chapter. And on the subject of ending this chapter. It's about time for us to end this DGen Roundtable stream here. Before we go though, and before we start wrapping up and everything, there is one fantastic chat shout out that I got to rock and roll with. We have been joined by Mr. Brightlight. Mr. Brightlight, shout out to you, good sir. This is another fellow streamer in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Super awesome. He is part of the most agreeable tokens on the ecosystem. So go check out Brightlight's channel. He is nothing but positivity and awesome information. I fucking love you, broski. And I'm glad that we could have you with us here today, this evening, as we do our fantastic Whiskey Wednesday. I got to say, gentlemen, this is my favorite Whiskey Wednesday that I've ever done. Like, this is super awesome. We talked about a lot of great things. We talked about a lot of awesome stuff. Jonathan, your bartending story is fantastic. I'm super stoked to see where you're going. Bill, I love learning about like not only your philosophy, but also all the stuff that you talk about with the actuator. There's just so much cool stuff going on. And Jay, brother, thank you for joining me, dude. Like you helped me hold down this show, and I super duper appreciate that. Oh, look at that. We've got another person rolling in. Mr. M Rock Jockey coming in with the number, what is that? The blue medal. So we are number 1 here on the Pulse Chain. Thank you, Mr. M Rock Jockey, or Mr. Ock Jockey. I still don't know how to pronounce your name after all these years. Thank you, sir, for hopping into the chat shoutouts. Gentlemen, before we end the stream, it's time for us to shout out. Where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future? I'll go ahead and start with Mr. Jonathan. Good sir, I see that you have noted that you are 200 IQ, by the way. So it's good to see that. Where can the folks find you, Mr. Jonathan? And what have you got going on in the near future? What can we look forward to?
Well, I like to be a little bit more private. You can find me in the Telegram. You can DM me. That's cool. But as for sharing everything, I like to stay within, my little circle.
Excellent. So you guys can go check out Jonathan in the DGen Roundtable Telegram. By the way, if y'all are not a part of the DGen Roundtable Telegram, you can scan that little QR code that's been hanging out right over there in the bottom middle of the page, or you can go to t.me/DGen or DRT join now. I'm getting my links confused, but yeah, thank you, Jonathan, for joining us today. You guys can find him in the DGen Roundtable Telegram. Feel free to hit him up over there. We are nothing but positivity focused and excellence. Mr. Bill, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future?
Yeah, you can find us at start at actuator.finance. That's the main page with all of our docs, our app, and everything else. It also has our social links. You can go to our Telegram at Actuator Finance, and you'll find our Telegram group there. Lots of good discussion. Our X as well is all linked to that. So plenty of ways to find us and join our community and see what's going on and get involved in the conversation. We finished up with a bunch of recent conversations, and I think the next thing, nothing disclosed just yet, but we're working to find ways to keep advancing the ATTs and all of the trade opportunities that the protocol brings.
Excellent. I love to hear it, and I love what you guys are doing over there. We're gonna have to do a stream with you, me, and Mr. Crispy Man at some point. It's the impetus is on me for organizing that, so it's on my mind. I've been thinking about it. I need to get my ball together and get you guys sorted and scheduled. Mr. Agent J, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future?
As always, you guys can find me on my socials at agent_J Schroth on Instagram, at _P90 Hex on crypto Twitter, or I guess I should say X. Don't want Elon Musk coming after us. But mostly, you can find me at the DGen Roundtable Telegram if you scan that QR code. As far as what I have coming up next, tomorrow, 7:45 a.m., pre-market open stream to go over the details of what exactly happened with today's FOMC meeting, how the market structure has changed, how price has reacted. Just a reminder, please, for those of you who entered long with us during this morning stream, move your stop losses up. Lock in those profits, please. You don't have to close the position, not financial advice, but lock in some profits. That's what I would personally do. And aside from that, thank you everybody, for Jonathan, for Bill, for those of us joining us here live, and for those of us who will be catching us on the replay. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful Wednesday evening. We know that time is your most valuable asset, so we do appreciate that you spend some of that time here with us at the DGen Roundtable. So until next time, make sure to like the damn video, comment, subscribe, scan the QR code, jump in the Telegram chat. Will, take us out, my friend.
Excellent. I just want to add one more thing to your talking about you're doing things at 7:45. It's in Arizona time. So you guys need to do the math to figure out what Arizona time is. Arizona does not abide by daylight savings, so it's effectively Pacific Standard Time. So for those of you on the East Coast, Agent J, did you say it was 7:45?
Yeah, so 7:40. We are 3 hours behind.
Okay, the East Coast.
Eastern. So 7:45 would be 8, 9, 10:45.
Yep.
Eastern.
There you go. So you guys got it. You got it here first. 10:45 Eastern time. You can check out Agent J's streaming over there in the DGen Roundtable. Again, if you guys are not a member of the DGen Roundtable Telegram, then all you got to do is go over to t.me/DRT Delta Romeo Tango. Join now, all one word, and that'll bring you over into our fantastic Telegram, and you can be a part of our super cool, awesome family where Agent J streams all the time and gives all the juicy, saucy nuggets and information and cool stuff. So, with that being said, for the folks at home, if you guys want to find any of my socials, then you can find all of my stuff at will.pls.fyi. You can follow my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, Linktree. Everything is linked off of that public domain that I have secured on the blockchain. So will.pls.fyi, super easy URL. As far as stuff that's going on in the near future, for those of you guys that are tuning in on our Friday book club show, we are covering Chasing Daylight, which is a story about a gentleman who was diagnosed with stage 3 brain cancer, and his last 6 months of life, he wrote a book about it. He was a CEO.
Wow.
Super fantastic book. I highly, highly, highly recommend everybody read this. It's a 4-hour book. It's super awesome. And it basically just like summarizes like, hey, if you know how much time you have left on this world, these are some things that you need to pay attention to. And if you don't know how much time you have left on this world, you should probably pay attention to these things anyways, because you never know when you're going to die. And it's important to have all of your stuff tied up and all of your loose ends knotted. I just said the same analogy twice, but that doesn't matter. It's a very good book. It's very emotional. There was some water leaking out of my eyes. I didn't cry, but there was water leaking out of my eyes while I was reading it. It's a very great book. Super fantastic, great, informative, emotional, inspiring, all of those things. So I highly recommend you guys go read this book. And we're going to be covering that on Friday. So, and then other than that, on the DGen Roundtable on Sunday, we're going to be covering the weekly news as we always do. So you guys can catch us here on the DGen Roundtable streaming every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. For those of you guys that have never seen us here before, we love you very much. Thank you for joining us. And that's all that I've got. So without any further ado, it's time for the end of show copywriting. And because I'm the producer, I need to make sure that I have my mouse set and ready to click the end of show thing. So that being said, I want to thank you all for spending your valuable time with us here on the DGen Roundtable. As Agent J literally just said not but a moment ago, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you spending it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Will Stevenson, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, which is me, go ahead and get that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.